of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day to you, my little buddy.
Happy Hump Day to you, Crudy. It's a pleasure, as always, to join you on the People's Airwaves.
The pleasure all yours, as always. Buddy, going to have a big show like every day, but today especially big. We've got a friend joining us, Jeff from Charlottesville. He's our radio buddy. There is a affiliate there. They play us out, the Devil's Advocates. They are so cool for doing so.
Yes, they are. Thank you. Charlottesville.
But Jeff's going to join us in the next hour. Obviously, Charlottesville has kind of been the center of the racial hurricane, and Donald Trump sort of threw some gasoline on the fire last year. Well, it is the anniversary, and the state of Virginia, the governor there has declared a state of emergency for Charlottesville. Going to catch up with our buddy Jeff Leonard at 4:05 Central Time, 5:05 Eastern for those listening out in Virginia, Dom. Also, tomorrow's big show, Gordon Hentz, minority leader in the Assembly, fine Dem, friend of ours. He's going to join us approximately 4 o'clock tomorrow. And we're going to talk some Foxconn. Very busy schedule for Mr. Hentz today. But, Dom, apparently Donald Trump's schedule quite busy as well.
Well, with all the executive time and golfing, I mean, who's got time to govern or talk to Mueller?
Yeah, especially talk to Mueller. Doesn't want to take the time to set up that interview.
I would love to. I would love to. It just, my attorneys don't want me to go to jail.
Raw Story reports it as thus, Dom. GOP strategist, Trump looks like he's hiding something and cowering from Mueller interview. President Donald Trump's rejection of interview terms sought by special counsel Robert Mueller created political optics of a cover-up, conservative MSNBC analyst Elise Jordan explained on Wednesday.
No.
Is there any political fallout if at the end of the president refuses to sit down with Mueller, and Mueller has to figure out a way to conclude his investigation without talking to the president? MSNBC anchor Craig Melbourne asked, will there be any sort of fallout? If Donald Trump does not sit down with Robert Mueller, he looks like he's hiding something, Jordan noted. He looks like he isn't up for the challenge being interviewed and forthright on what happened. And so that creates the impression that he is indeed hiding something, she explained. And Donald Trump does not want us to be seen, as cowering from a fight, Jordan added. If anything, we know his style throughout the entirety of his presidential campaign, and to this date, is to attack back and always keep pushing forward. Finally, Dom, at least from the Raw Story piece here, the MSNBC contributor and co-host of Words Matter podcast, Steve Schmidt, he was McCain's guy, had this to say about Trump's defense lawyers, seeking to avoid legal jeopardy for their client. Just for some back history, when fellow MSNBC contributor Tim O'Brien wrote the book Trump Nation and reported on Donald Trump's finances, and Donald Trump sued him for $5 billion for irreparable harm to his reputation, then that got Donald Trump in court. When he sat down for depositions, he told about 30 lies, and he said his income fluctuated based on how he was feeling, Jordan reminded. That's the kind of performance that Donald Trump's lawyers certainly want to avoid.
I'm feeling like $1 million today, Crudy. How about you?
I'm feeling like $72 billion. But that could change in the next segment,
It depends how your mood goes.
Come see, come sad. So Donald Trump, he looks he looks scared, Dom.
And that's a
GOP.
That's a GOP
scared.
analyst, right? Now, granted, that's the lefty media, but it's still a GOP analyst, a Republican, a conservative, and I'm sure he is not the only one thinking that way.
What about you, my little libertarian buddy? What about this president? Is he above the law? Can he just ignore the subpoena? I mean, that's what's coming next, right?
Well, right.
We talked about that with James Santel yesterday. It's time now either for a subpoena of the president of the United States. Either Mueller challenges him, and, Giuliani and the team will go immediately to court. They'll run it up the flagpole. They'll hope to get it to the U.S. Supreme Court.
But I'm not sure they go immediately to court. I mean, I think they drag it out and they put gum in the works and they throw a wrench in the machine and try to stall as much as they possibly can. They have absolutely stall everything.
Beyond the midterms or indefinitely?
Indefinitely. Because here's the deal. If you believe that the president is an agent of Russia, let's just go down that road. Well, why would he ever comply ever? If the mandate from the motherland is to sow discord, right, to wreak havoc, to mess with our institutions, President Trump will never, ever capitulate because those are not his orders. He is to fight this fake news, hoax, Russia investigation every step of the way. I expect that he will not show up. They will refuse subpoena, and they will do everything they possibly can to delay and make this as much of a constitutional crisis as they possibly can, because that is the point.
Okay, little buddy, play strategery with me. Pretend like you're Robert Mueller. What's the Dominic Mueller plan? Do you avoid that confrontation? Do you avoid that inevitable delay through the courts? Because I think once you issue the subpoena, I think you got to play it out to the end, right?
I think but here's the deal. So what do you got, though? What do you have? I mean, do you have a phone conversation of Trump and Putin planning? Do you have a video of it? You know what I'm saying? So it depends on what you got. Because if you don't do that and you do
PP tape, perhaps,
and you do a referral to the Congress and give them the evidence that you have, it may be a moot point. Because if the evidence is so damning that even the Republicans must.
What evidence? I mean, honestly, I'm not being trite here. What evidence would be so damning to bring Republicans to conscience, Tom? I'm not clear that sort of evidence can be presented. I'm not a signed deal with the devil in blood. I mean, what exactly do you think it would take? Shooting a Republican operative on Fifth Avenue? I'm not clear that there is a threshold beyond which a certain percentage, and I mean a significant percentage of Republicans, will not support this man to the end, because the failure to do so illegitimizes their stolen Supreme Court seat and everything about their tax cuts and every other policy choice, and the plugging of the courts perhaps for a generation with Trump appointments. That's what it's really about. They will support Donald Trump all the way to hell, because it's not really about Donald Trump for many of them. Listen to Leah Vukmir. You hold your nose and you vote for the offensive guy, right?
Until you get the DeLorean video, man. You know what I'm saying? Until you see it in front of you. DeLorean, of course, the maker of the cars, got waxed by the FBI with a suitcase full of cocaine, talking about how it was better than gold. That kind of evidence? Hell yeah, Leah Vukmir is going to stand up. Hell yes, Nicholson. Everybody. They would have to, or they would get their asses thrown out themselves.
I'm not clear that they would.
Well, I mean, maybe not, Crudy, but I'm going with what most of humanity here. And they're not paid off to the degree that they're willing, I would bet, because they're fickle this way. It is not necessarily, it's about power, right? And if they have any chance of keeping their power, and it's not going to be through the support of Donald Trump, once he becomes no longer useful to them, like, I don't know, the DeLorean cocaine tape, something along at that level, they will cast him aside as quick as they can.
Dominic, if you're talking about the most of humanity and the Republican Party, and you make a Venn diagram, there may be no overlap.
No humanity?
Very little. Very little. I mean, it's a completely different standard. If you got Sean Hannity and Fox News has got your back, I mean, you fight this one to the end of history, right? You fight it till the end, and I think Donald Trump will fight it to the end. And
But
I don't think
Donald Trump would do it for a different motivation than your standard rank and file Republican.
I think he would sell his mother. He would sell his mother down the highway or whatever the old saying is. Sure, I don't think Donald Trump has any sort of moral compass. I do think that Donald Trump would like to, let's say, shield his children. Shield the offspring.
Too late.
Certainly Ivanka. But what about Trump Jr.? Does Donald Trump take some extraordinary effort to try and protect his son?
Sure, he
seemingly
pardons everybody on the way out the door.
Yesterday.
He pardons everybody on the way out the door.
Way out the door when? After he loses the election, or what? After he declares martial law?
Come on. Martial law? You think Donald Trump's going to declare martial law?
Well, if not martial law, maybe martial law.
Russia.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open to you, 844-967-2789.
It's good to be king and have your own world. It helps to make friends. It's good to meet girls, a sweet little queen who can't run away. It's good to be king, whatever it pays.
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
Fire, fury, and frankly power.
Marsha!
Very powerful.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on it anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Brian Style was raised right here in Wisconsin on Wisconsin-style values. That's why Brian Style doesn't have any interest in Washington-style politics. Partisanship, finger-pointing, and infighting might be in style in D.C., but Brian Style knows that fixing how Washington works will take Wisconsin-style solutions. Brian Style built a career in manufacturing, solving problems, saving money, and creating jobs here in Wisconsin. And as a member of the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents, Brian Style voted to keep tuition frozen while helping to ensure that our students are prepared for the jobs of the future. So if you're ready for Wisconsin-style solutions to Washington-style gridlock, vote conservative, outsider, and problem solver Brian Style for Congress. Because even if our conservative Southeast Wisconsin-style values are out of style in D.C., we know that we can count on Brian Style to fight for our values in Washington.
I'm Brian Style, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Style for Wisconsin, Inc.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
60% of the time, they're right every time. Dom and Chris are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio. Streaming live on the YouTube and Facebook pages. You can hit us up on the Twitter feed at Devil Radio. And the party line, talk or text. Toll free, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I assert the Trump legal team negotiating with Mueller for this interview in bad faith. There's no desire whatsoever to come to resolution. This is a bad faith negotiation.
Crudy, the New York Times reporting today, Michael Schmidt and Maggie Haberman, President Trump's lawyers rejected the special counsel's latest terms for an interview in the Russia investigation, countering on Wednesday with an offer that suggested a narrow path for answering questions people familiar with the matter said.
Wait. I know, I'm interrupting.
That's all right. Go ahead, man.
That's what we do around here.
We talk a lot.
Specifically, if the president is not above the law, would you or I or any other person that the special counsel wanted to investigate, anybody else, would anyone other than the president of the United States have the temerity to think that they could define the terms under which the special counsel could investigate their perhaps treasonous criminal activity, or, maybe it's just run-of-the-mill obstruction of justice. But to think that they get to frame and decide on behalf of the special counsel, I mean, that takes bigger cahoons than anything Bill Clinton and his legal team tried to run out there.
But I believe they also placed limitations, time frames and styles, and was it video, was it in person? There were limitations placed.
Ultimately,
but here's the deal.
Testified.
But ultimately, Crudy,
Clinton
they get privileges as president that you and I don't get. So
we will see
what it comes down to.
If Trump ever gets hauled by subpoena or otherwise. But my concern is strategically, subpoena might be too slow. This needs to happen before the midterms. Mueller said obstruction investigation report. I mean, by the end of summer, Dom, summer's waiting.
He said by the end of July, if I recall correctly.
Well, Trump thought he was going to wrap up the investigation
by last Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Continuing on from the New York Times, Jay Sekulow, one of Mr. Trump's personal lawyers, confirmed that a response was sent but declined to comment on its content. The president's lead lawyer in the case, Rudolph W. Giuliani, noted the documents that the White House has already provided and said, "We're restating what we have been saying for months. It is time for the Office of Special Counsel to conclude its inquiry without further delay." The letter marked the latest.
We continue to delay the time frame of the prospective interview, and we want to reframe it, and we'll give you an answer in like 10 days or so.
Well, sandbag it as long as they possibly can to sow the most possible discord they possibly can. And hell, if you're talking about wanting to disrupt the machinations of the United States, make Mueller continue this investigation through the midterms. You know what I'm saying? Again, if Trump, the president, is an agent of Russia, it is his duty to the motherland to mess up and screw up and mess with our systems as much as he possibly can.
I'm not ready to throw in and say he's fully a complicit double agent Manchurian candidate, but I would say self-preservation instincts are strong with the Trumps.
Yeah.
I think he wants to keep his ass out of prison,
Force
right?
is strong with this one. The letter marked the latest back and forth in the 8 months of negotiations. 8 months! Between Mr. Trump's lawyers and the special counsel. Last week, Mr. Mueller proposed a slightly altered format to the expansive interview he wants to conduct with the president. Mr. Trump's lawyers did not reject an interview outright, but included the narrower counteroffer, one person familiar with the response said. However, Mr. Trump's lawyers do not want him answering questions about whether he obstructed justice, according to the person who did not want to be named, describing the private negotiations and spoke on the condition of anonymity. The response indicated how far apart the two sides remain. Mr. Mueller wants to question the president on a range of issues, chiefly his associates' contact with Russia, possible coordination between his campaign and Moscow's election interference, and the intent behind presidential actions that could be construed as attempts to obstruct the inquiry, including firing the FBI director, Crute.
But the president's lawyers are concerned that if he is interviewed, Mr. Trump could perjure himself. Most definitely would, I suspect, but I read on. That concern is in part driving the ongoing negotiations. They had been prepared last week to tell Mr. Mueller that Mr. Trump would decline an interview, but the president, who believes he can convince Mr. Mueller that he is innocent, pushed his lawyers to continue negotiating by making another counterproposal after months of promises that they were just weeks away from deciding about an interview. Mr. Trump's lawyers run the risk that Mr. Mueller could conclude that they are negotiating in bad faith to prolong the investigation.
Yes.
In a meeting with Mr. Trump's lawyers this year, Mr. Mueller threatened to take the extraordinary step of subpoenaing the president to testify before a grand jury if he did not sit down for a voluntary interview. The New York Times article goes on, but this segment concludes right now. More of us on the other side. Join us on the phones. 844-967-2789. Is the president above the law?
No man is above the law. No man.
Did you ask me a question?
Then who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Driving means
freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
travel,
protection,
ability,
friendship,
excitement,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police, devastation,
injury, death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Juice, Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom, I want juice! Mom.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee County Museum, one of the oldest natural history museums in the nation, needs to build a new facility, and conceptual designs were recently unveiled and circulated for what that building could look like. The Fiserv Company, whose name will be on the Bucks' new arena, may build their long-delayed new headquarters in downtown Milwaukee, right next to the new arena. And the owner of Atomic Glass, which used to be on Milwaukee's east side, has been ordered to pay $4.5 million for selling synthetic marijuana. And outside this afternoon, mostly sunny with temperatures around 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a slight chance of rain in the afternoon and highs in the low 80s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Bring it? Oh, it's already been brought in. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It is a Hump Day Wednesday. Our president cowering from the Mueller interview because, of course, when one is guilty of obstruction of justice, or much, much worse, Dom, one doesn't really want to sit down with the investigator that hopes to put one's cojones in the vice.
And of course, the Trump team, the legal team, have said that they will fight any subpoena. So what? So Mueller's got to dance around and try to convince Trump some way, shape, or form to sit. Just let me. And I'm pretty convinced Mueller, because of course any question Mueller's going to ask Trump, Mueller already knows the answers to. So it would take about 3 questions for Mueller to entrap Trump. It's a trap, right? It's the perjury trap. Well, it's only a trap if you did something wrong, and you either have to admit you did something wrong or lie about the fact that you did something wrong, and they already know that you did something wrong.
It's a trap. I understand Rudy and the boys preferred the term, what was it now? Damn it, that sound way too loud in my head, Fancy Brian. You shook that thought right out of there.
We do have some Rudy sound. Let's get to the president's personal attorney, crazy man, Rudy Giuliani. Wow, this is a character. And he was on the Jay Sekulow show. I didn't know there was such a thing as the Jay Sekulow show.
But the attorney has a radio or a television show?
I'm not, Brian, you got it off the interwebs? It's out there. I'm not clear.
It's a podcast? The guy's putting out competing podcast with this fine radio product, Resistance Radio, right here, Tom. That is so troubling to me.
They're going to lose. Let's get to it. Giuliani on the Russia investigation. A few cuts here. Let's start with 87, please.
Honestly, he's got all the information that he needs. The interview will provide nothing in addition to what he already has. So he can write his report. And we've been willing to profit. In other words, we've been willing to say, this is the answer he will give, and we'll be stuck with it.
Rudy, if he has all the information that he needs, I think the reason Mueller wants to interview Trump is to get him on record for the obstruction and or worse that he's been specifically involved in. That's why he wants to sit down.
Now, let me ask a little industry question, Dom. If this is the Jay Sekulow show, right? And Rudy is on the same legal team, why didn't Rudy show up for like a sit-down for this interview. Why did Rudy have to phone it in on a bad cell phone?
Crudy, unfortunately, I do not have the answer, but perhaps maybe Giuliani will tell us. Let's keep going. Cut 88.
We have now given him an answer. He obviously he should take a few days to consider it, but we should get this resolved. If there's going to be an interview, let's have it. If there's not going to be an interview, then let him write his report.
Interview.
Subpoena. You know,
I'm not clear that I want subpoena.
I want subpoena. I want to know. Does the
for the sake of history?
Yes. For the sake of equality, for the sake of the fact that we are not ruled by kings, for the sake of the fact that I don't get to dictate the terms of my surrender when the special prosecutor comes after me. That's a bunch of BS. Subpoena his ass and haul his ass in. This isn't some little issue about parking tickets. This is about obstruction of justice and working with foreign adversaries. I mean, this...
How do you enforce the subpoena upon the President of the United States? Through the courts, right? I mean, you got to utilize the courts. That creates a delay. I'm just saying I mean, history, sure. I'd love to know the answer to that many other fine questions.
How would a subpoena be enforced against you, Crute? They knock on your door and drag your ass out. That's how I want it done.
Well, as you pointed out, the president apparently gets certain exemptions from the rough treatment that we, the lay person, might receive at the hands of law enforcement.
Fine, you have every right. Then come on in, because if you don't come in and we have a subpoena, 3 separate co-equal branches of government, sir. This is not a witch hunt, sir. Get your ass in and answer the questions like every other American.
But he claims it's a witch hunt.
Well, so what? What he claims. Come on, I can dunk a basketball. Doesn't make it true no matter how often and how loudly and how angrily I say it.
Yeah, but if you made that claim under oath, you'd be subject to perjury, Dom.
Well, it depends on how tall the rim is, Crute.
Well, you've been making that claim. I've heard you talking bold about dunking basketballs most of your adult life, but you never had to do so under oath with fear of perjury or fear of exposure.
No doubt, and that's what the force of law is all about. And if it's not applied to the president, why the hell should it be applied anywhere else?
Well, that brings up another interesting digression, Dom, because, of course, the president has nominated Brett Kavanaugh, and Brett Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court justice, if he runs it up the flagpole of the courts, you know, it's going to take some time delay between here and the appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, and regardless of which side prevails at the lower courts, there will be appeals all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, upon which Donald Trump's newest appointment gets to preside whether or not
recuse himself because it could be the appointment of an illegitimate
Why would he
president.
Do that? You cannot make him do that. If he's going to accept the nomination and go and serve on the court,
he's not on the court yet. I get it. I understand, Crudy. I get it. But again,
the same guy that would accept the nomination of Donald Trump.
Do you want to live under the rules of a Supreme Court with a guy nominated by Trump who is later proven to be in league with Russia to subvert our election system? Doesn't everything the guy does...
That takes a lot of conjecture on your part to get from here to there.
We're halfway there. We're halfway there. Wait, but hang on. If that were to be the case, would you want that ruling to stand?
Here's what I want to stand. I want the information. I want the facts. I want to find out if he ordered the code red. And the only way for me to get from here to there is to get to the end of at least the Mueller obstruction report. And I share Giuliani's opinion in this regard. He knows what he's going to go ask Donald Trump about, right? In probability, there will not be a specific indictment of the sitting president. He may be as an unindicted co-conspirator in some way, shape, or form. The report may be damning of him, but there will not be a criminal indictment, I strongly suspect, not on the obstruction charge. And therefore, what we want is the political solution, which is impeachment, or we want the electoral solution, which is beat his ass down at the ballot box. But to delay this through the courts will offer the American people no solution, only further delays of justice.
If the guy said he ordered the code red, Crudy, then what?
Well, then hang him high. The code red in this case,
Yes,
quote,
I
right,
obstructed
this
with
case being
Russia, and yes, I did it. Yes, I did
collusion
it.
with the foreign power.
Pound sand. Pound sand. I did it. Indict me. What are you going to do? You know, okay, go down that road. If you take the position that the man is unindictable, well, then he may as well admit what he did.
But if he takes the position that he is unindictable and doesn't honor the subpoena, how do you enforce it upon him?
The same way you enforce it on you.
Him?
Yes.
By whom? Who would have the power of enforcement upon the president? I mean, perhaps the judicial branch.
Yes. What do you mean perhaps? Yes, the judicial branch.
And which arm of the judicial branch would be the ones out there arresting him? The court bailiff? You going to send Judge Wapner's buddy down? I mean, who's going to actually scoop him up? So anyways, let's not digress too far into the weeds.
Well, we got a few more cuts, but go ahead.
Oh, well, here's my thought, and we'll take more Giuliani. I understand they prefer the term crack legal team. I think that's what I forgot before when my brain got a little cracked with the loud noises.
The crack legal team.
Anyways, Giuliani's job is to obstruct, sort of, kind of, to obstruct the advancement of this conversation to the point of conclusion, because resolution of this conversation means an interview between the president and the special counsel. They will never arrive at that conclusion. We know from their prior actions, from the 8 months that got us to here, they're negotiating in bad faith. They have no desire to reach that conclusion. So while I understand your gut instinct is to say, let's hold him accountable with the subpoena and let's go play this out before the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, they put Bill Clinton under subpoena, but he ultimately gave voluntary testimony. If we must presume that he's the Manchurian candidate, talking about Trump now, and that he's never going to give voluntary testimony, the subpoena exercise for the sake of history doesn't accomplish what is my ultimate goal, which is getting to the root of whether or not Donald Trump is guilty. And I think if he is guilty, he needs either the political remedy of impeachment or he needs the political remedy at the ballot box.
Oh, isn't that nice? If I was guilty of crimes, I'd love to get a political remedy. Again, that's a double standard. It's terrible precedent for this country. He's a human being, he's a citizen of this country. He should not have be treated like a king.
Take the next logical step, Dom, and we don't know the legal, but take the next logical step. Let's say Mueller chooses to indict Donald Trump, sitting president. Now you got a whole nother legal constitutional crisis on your hand, because you've got to decide, is it possible legally, can you indict a sitting president, right? The entire wheels of history come to
absolutely
stop.
Let's stop this argument. Let's frickin' do this, because I say absolutely yes. Yes. Come on, man. Nobody is above the law.
To win the argument is to lose the war, my little buddy.
First
you impeach him,
no way,
and
dude.
then
Absolutely.
you indict him. First you impeach him, then you indict him.
All right, let's hear more of Giuliani besides our legal rantings. Crudy, let's do cut 89, please. Fancy Brian.
It's about time that it ends. I also think, and I hope the special counsel is as sensitive to it as we are, we do not want to run into the November elections. So you back up from that. This should be over with by September 1st.
I guess it all depends on how much cooperation you provide then, isn't it, Giuliani? Because if you make us go through the exercise, perhaps it won't. Let's keep going. Giuliani, the perjury trap. It's a trap. Cut 90.
You start to think that the only reason they want this explanation is so that they can come up with some kind of a perjury thing. Because Comey has said the opposite of this.
Yeah, so I mean, and what's called a perjury trap is something that we've talked about often.
It's a trap.
Jay Sekulow chiming in there. Well, it's only a perjury trap, Crudy, if you lie, if you perjure yourself. And if you have to, the only way you cannot perjure yourself is admit to wrongdoing, well, you have a choice to do so.
So you're saying when Joe was dating Trish in college, she was a perjury trap, right?
Exactly. God. 844-967-2789 if you want to join us. Let's do one more. Finally, Giuliani wrapping up a 91.
Even subjects of investigations, we know he's not the target. They almost never testify. And prosecutors have to make the decision without ever hearing from them.
You know, the way these Republicans split hairs, didn't Governor Walker of the state of Wisconsin make a similar argument? I'm a subject. I'm not a target.
Yeah, that's a very technical definition. And Francis Schmitz, the Republican prosecutor here in the state of Wisconsin, I think he was the equivalent of the special counsel. Well, he didn't know what sort of corrupt bastard he had on his hands, Tom. You know, he should have treated him like a mobster, because they were effectively, racketeering here in the state of Wisconsin. This prosecution, this Mueller team, I mean, I don't think they're going to take their eye off the prize. And the prize is Donald Trump's ass on a spit. It's not subpoena. It's not history. And, you know, as Jim Santel mentioned to us yesterday, eventually, 15 years down the road, we can go read in the Mueller memoirs all about the historical context and the strategery that arrived at these decisions. But I want consequence for malfeasance. And the only way I can get my consequence for Donald Trump for his malfeasance is if I can get to the bottom of these very important questions. Dom, what's for lunch? Come back with us. 844-967-2789. Your contributions. Welcome here.
We have a president, not a king.
All I wish is for you to sit and talk with me.
This Russia thing.
Stop talking. Not talking now.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamarupa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Tired of holding your nose and choosing the lesser of evils in every election? Mike McCabe is a breath of fresh air, a once-in-a-lifetime candidate for governor. On August 14th, let yourself dare to dream of something better. Vote Mike McCabe for governor.
Paid for by commoners for Mike McCabe.
Milwaukee County, this is Ernell Lucas. How much longer must we wait to drive a freeway system free from reckless, intoxicated, and wrong-way drivers? How much longer will it take before we can enjoy a park system where our seniors can safely go for a walk and our young people can run and play? How much longer will it be before you are served by a sheriff's office that honors the dignity of every human being, including those detained in the jail? As your next Milwaukee County Sheriff, I will ensure your safety on our freeway system and in our parks. I will lead a sheriff's office that honors all human dignity and protects individual rights. On Tuesday, August 14, I am asking you to vote Ernell Lucas for Milwaukee County Sheriff. How much longer will it be before we build a strong and safe Milwaukee County? Not long.
Paid for by Lucas for Milwaukee.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio on YouTube and Facebook, streaming live right now, of course, on Twitter at Devil Radio. Call us up anytime. We take all callers. Free speech, 844-967-2789.
Unless you disagree with me, then I'm going to make it awfully difficult on you. Dominic, we're going to talk with our buddy Jeff Leonard from our affiliate in Charlottesville, Virginia at the top of the next hour. 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Going to talk about Charlottesville. It's been about a year since that little free speech exercise went on in Virginia, Dom. But wanted to talk, before this hour comes to a conclusion, about Republican Rep. Chris Collins and the 5 key parts of his insider trading indictment. Dom.
A Republican busted for insider trading. I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
Greed is good. Rep. Chris Collins, Republican from New York, was indicted Wednesday on insider trader charges stemming from his position on the board of directors of a drug company whose signature drug suffered a surprising failed trial. Collins lost millions on the deal, but according to federal prosecutors, he tipped off others so they could avoid losing money. Sounds like a good friend to me, Dom. Apparently that's illegal, though. The case involves inmate Immutherapeutics, an Australian biotech company that was testing the drug MIS-416 for treatment of multiple sclerosis. Basically, prosecutors allege that Collins passed along non-public information about the trial, and Collins' son, Cameron Collins, and others unloaded millions of shares before that news became public. Several other GOP members of Congress also invested in the drug. None are accused of any wrongdoing yet. Below are the most interesting parts of the indictment and also the newly released complaint from the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. That was your old regulator. Now it's the FCC, Dom, but why don't you help me out? You know, what's in the indictment, Dom?
Number one, Crudy, there are 2 other defendants and at least 6 unindicted co-conspirators. Collins was indicted alongside his son Cameron and a third person, Steven Zarsky, who is the father of Cameron Collins' fiance. Hey, it's a family matter. That fiance is also among 6 alleged co-conspirators who are not named or charged in the indictment, perhaps owing to their cooperation. All of them allegedly benefited from insider trading. Crute.
Others not named include members of Zarsky's family. The last unindicted co-conspirator, CC6, was a friend of Cameron Collins and his fiancée. The co-conspirators allegedly saved themselves $768,000, but Collins lost far more than that. Adding insult to injury for Collins, he doesn't even appear to have saved himself. Reports at the time about the failed trial indicate he lost about $16.7 million. I mean, I'd like to have $16.7 million to lose one day, Dom. Right. After the firm's stock price fell 92%. Well, that perhaps, if that's the entirety of your $17 million, just about lost. Because he's serving on the board of directors, he was prevented from being able to unload his own stock. That's got to suck. And that amount far exceeds the amount that Cameron Collins, Zarsky, and 6 co-conspirators allegedly saved, which is $768,000 in total. Collins is also accused of lying to investigators. There those Republicans go again, Dom. The charges against Collins stem from when investigators first asked him if he tipped off his son. Collins was informed by inmate's CEO about the failed drug test. Inmates, not inmate. He's soon to be an inmate, perhaps. Inmate CEO about the failed drug test the evening of June 22nd, 2017 via email while Collins was at a White House event. I think he tipped off the president too, Dom. The SEC complaint states that Chris Collins called Cameron Collins for the first time just 15 seconds after sending the email.
Come on.
That doesn't look guilty at all, Dom.
The alleged scheme. Oh, go ahead, Curdy. Finish it up.
Well, I was just going to say the two played phone tag for a few minutes. Ultimately, they spoke for about 6 minutes, at which point Chris Collins allegedly told his son about the failed trial.
Number 4, the alleged scheme wasn't exactly well hidden, and there's lots of line items there. And finally, Curdy, Collins allegedly told people it was a slam dunk. Yeah, buy it. It's going to go up, guaranteed.
And text detailed in the SEC complaint, Cameron Collins' then girlfriend discusses Chris Collins' salesmanship of the stock and suggests the congressman would tip them off if anything went wrong. Well, apparently he did.
And you're not supposed to.
Now's the time to panic. Come back with us, hour 2. We never panic. Jeff Leonard joins us live from Charlottesville, Virginia.
How could you do this to us after everything we've done for you?
Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put y'all in the poorhouse at the same time. He didn't think we could do it. I won.
Before I wore a hard hat, I wore an Army helmet, and I qualified as an expert shot. I respect an American's right to carry a weapon. I don't respect the NRA profit machine that lets guns into the hands of criminals and the mentally ill time and time again. It's time for sensible gun policy in America. I'm Randy Bryce, and I approve this message.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Hideous charges. Russia sanctions. I'm Mike Moss. Prosecutors in New Mexico suspect a man found at a compound with 11 starving children was training the kids to be school shooters. Correspondent Scott McLean.
These people have not been charged with conspiracy to commit school shooting, with training young people, anything like that. This is just one singular point in a document, in a charging document.
The suspect, Sadaj Wahaj, is the father of a missing 3-year-old. Police also found remains on the grounds of the compound, but haven't been able to determine yet if they are the remains of the boy. Wahaj was arrested last week with 4 other adults, all facing child abuse charges. In preparation for a Unite the Right rally 1 year after a similar rally turned violent and deadly in Charlottesville, Virginia, The State Director of Emergency Management, Jeff Stern, says officials are getting ready.
Governor Northam, effective 3 o'clock today, has proactively declared that a state of emergency exists for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
That will put hundreds more police on the streets of Charlottesville to keep the peace. Upstate New York Congressman Chris Collins, his son, and another man are facing charges of insider trading and lying to the FBI. Jeffrey Berman is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York.
The FBI asked to interview him, and instead of telling the truth, he lied. And so did Cameron Collins, and so did Stephen Zarsky. By lying to the FBI, they compounded their insider trading crime with the crime of criminal cover-up.
The U.S. is imposing new sanctions on Russia for using a nerve agent in the attempt to kill a former Russian spy and political opponent of Vladimir Putin in England. The SEC is looking into Elon Musk's Twitter claim that he was looking to take Tesla private, a tweet that caused a significant boost in Tesla stock value. On Wall Street, the Dow down 46, S&P.
Folks, it's time for a change. This is Kristen from Waukesha asking you to vote for Kelda Roys for governor, early or on Tuesday, August 14th. Paid for by Kelda for governor and her supporters in Waukesha County.
This is 12th District State Representative Fred Kessler. I support a $15 minimum wage. I support voting rights. End gerrymandering. Have a fair redistricting. I'd appreciate your vote.
Paid for by Friends of Fred Kessler.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Apply. Equal housing lender.
A Los Angeles task force made up of local and federal law enforcement has delivered a big blow to a major Mexican drug cartel.
20 people have been arrested for allegedly working for the Sinaloa drug cartel, smuggling drugs into the U.S. 57 warrants were served. Those not arrested are believed to be hiding out in Mexico. FBI Assistant Director Paul Delacorte says this is a result of a 3-year investigation.
We hope that we are going to eliminate the associated violence that goes with drug trafficking in our communities.
The drugs were warehoused in the LA metro region, then distributed across the country. 850 pounds of meth was seized, along with nearly a ton of cocaine, 93 pounds of heroin, 50 pounds of pot, and more than $1.4 million in cash. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
The History Channel's American Pickers have made a discovery in music history. They bought for $25,000 an old dilapidated van that the band Aerosmith used to travel New England when they were just starting out. In fact, a member of the band has confirmed the find.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
You've packed the smartphones, headphones, tablets, water snacks, cooler, sunscreen, bikes, skateboards, games, videos, sunglasses.
There's no room for people in here.
Just don't wimp out on the most important thing.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
No, seatbelts. Whether it's a long haul or short trip,
It's a win-win situation.
never give up until they buckle up. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Scott Walker said he sees no value in visiting a state prison to see for himself the conditions for citizens who are incarcerated. The governor made the statement at a press conference yesterday, where he also criticized Democrats who say we need prison reform. Walker has never visited a correctional facility since he became governor. A teacher who was beaten at a juvenile prison last year has been asking to meet with Walker to discuss the problems, but he has declined the request. Critics say the prisons are understaffed and the guards are undertrained. And outside this afternoon, mostly sunny with temperatures around 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a slight chance of rain in the afternoon and highs in the low 80s. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, we're going to turn our attention towards Charlottesville, Virginia. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam on Wednesday declared a state of emergency for the state and the city of Charlottesville in anticipation of the one-year anniversary of the deadly Unite the Right rally. And we're welcoming back our friend from Charlottesville, Jeff Leonard with WPBC 94.7 FM. Jeff, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates, my man.
Hey, guys, I wish I could talk to you about some good news for a change. It doesn't seem like there's any coming our way these days.
So, big rallies planned, Jeff. Most of the Unite the Right rallies, I understand, this year are targeting Washington, D.C. Counter-protest also planned. But what events, and I say events loosely, sir, but what sort of mischief are you expecting from the Unite the Right in Charlottesville this weekend?
So the application permit to Unite the Right 2 was denied, and it was appealed to federal court. And right at the last minute when the judge was going to issue a ruling, the plaintiff, the appellant, said, I no longer want to have my rally, and turned their attention toward Washington, D.C. My information is that there will be zero Trump fans inbound to Charlottesville. There will be no MAGA Nazis or alt-right individuals here. But yet, out of the fear of the presence of either Antifa or Antifa sympathizers or individuals who lean left or individuals who just want to take back our city, the state police, the National Guard, and I don't know, everyone you can name has been mobilized. It caught me by surprise at 3 o'clock today, our time, when they made the announcement that the state of emergency has been declared for Charlottesville. It's kind of like we're at the coast and we're just waiting for a hurricane to hit. We just don't know what to expect and hoping it veers out to sea, and we'll have to see what happens.
Jeff, remind our listeners, if you'd be so kind, why was Charlottesville the center of attention last year? Why did the Unite the Right come to Charlottesville specifically?
Well, Charlottesville, the city council voted to take down a couple of Confederate monuments, a couple of Confederate general monuments. And people have been doing it all over the country, I think largely after Charlottesville's lead. But in Virginia, our General Assembly, who, if this was on live stream, I would give them the middle finger, our Republican-led General Assembly, they enacted a rule that said that local localities cannot disrupt any historical monuments that are for war heroes or for war veterans. So the Robert E. Lee statue has to stay. And we wanted to take it down. The city of Charlottesville wanted to take it down. And some Trump fans took great umbrage at that and decided to hold a rally that quickly got out of hand. And, everyone has seen the video, and I think PBS had a front line on it last night. And I would say with absolute certainty the police and law enforcement was embarrassed at what they did or what they didn't do last year, and just let an open running battle between left-leaning and alt-right individuals. They just had a street brawl for what amounted to a day. 2 state troopers were killed when their helicopter crashed, and Heather Heyer lost her life on 2nd Street on our downtown mall. And I think the state police and the National Guard and the local police are just terrified that something like that could happen again. And some, including myself, are saying that what they're doing is a bit of an overreach here. I mean, they've declared a state of emergency. Effective Friday night, streets in downtown Charlottesville are going to be closed. The swimming pools are going to be closed. The splash parks for the kids are closed. They even closed our local municipal golf course for fear of it being a soft target. This is, one of the numbers we heard today at the press conference was there are 700 state troopers inbound to Charlottesville to monitor the situation.
Wow.
What you have to understand is the Virginia State Police has 2,118 sworn troopers, of which 700 are going to be in our town of 45,000 people, plus 300 National Guard. This is an overreach, I feel, and I'm afraid that when all of these people show up, the counter-protesters from last year come back looking for someone to engage with, and the Trump fans aren't going to be here. I'm concerned that they might turn some words or some deeds toward the police, and it could get out of hand quickly with the police vowing or at least giving every indication that last year will not happen again and arrests will be made immediately.
Well, Jeff, just sitting here passively looking for a silver lining, if they're going to close the golf courses, seems like the likelihood of Donald Trump making an unexpected trip down to Charlottesville quite low, sir.
You know what the worst thing about living in Charlottesville is that clown came down here and bought John Kluge's winery. So the Trump winery is just south of town. Yeah. And his, I don't want to disparage anyone, but his low IQ son, Eric, runs it. So it's, when you drive down one of our roads, it says Trump Winery. We're like, oh, my God, you can't get away from this clown. But, yeah, he's not coming to visit. And if he did, he certainly wouldn't be welcome.
Hey, are you sure he's the low IQ one? At least Eric Trump had the good sense not to take a meeting with the Russians in Trump Tower, Jeff.
Neither one of them are smart, but I think they kind of keep Eric under wraps by giving him menial things to do and sort of let Junior, maybe try to play in the big leagues. At least they used to. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think Junior might be wearing stripes here pretty soon. Maybe he can share a cell with Manafort.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio. Jeff Leonard, he's our pal from the affiliate at WPVC 94.7 in Charlottesville. He joins us on the phone. Jeff, if you bear with me just for a moment, I think we have some sound from today, Brian?
Yes, we have the city manager, Mike Murphy, declaring the local emergency.
Let's play a little bit, if you would, please.
Sure.
I have signed this afternoon a declaration of local emergency.
I have Colonel Gary Settle saying they're prepared to act.
State police is fully prepared to act on any insightful violence, any acts of violence, or any violations of law.
Now, Jeff, if I recall some of the video last year, it seemed like police were standing around quite a bit. This seems, does it feel like they're overcompensating for their lack of action last time?
There is, as I mentioned, I think the state police and the city police and the National Guard and the governor were embarrassed at their lack of response and their lack of ability to maintain order last year. And I don't know how many people know this, but the state police colonel has been replaced. The city police chief has been replaced. The University of Virginia's chief of police has retired. So there's a whole bunch of new, one lady and two gentlemen are now in charge of these operations. Then we have a new governor, and they are. If I were them, I would make sure that I didn't make the mistakes of the past. Mike Murphy, the city manager here, he was appointed interim city manager, I think, Monday. What's today? Wednesday.
Wow.
And Mike is a super human being. I know Mike personally. He is about as good a guy as you'll ever come across. He used to work in the foster care system for the city of Charlottesville, so he's a practitioner first and sort of a manager. That's why everybody really likes him. But I fear that he has been put in a position where there's very limited upside for what could happen this weekend. I mean, anything bad could fall to his lap. He's such a good guy. I worry for him.
Now, Jeff, under this state of emergency, do the streets shut down? You mentioned some things will be closed, but I mean, does everyone have to be off the street by a certain time? And
so
what is the recourse?
Question. You know, martial law hasn't been declared, so you can walk down the street. I guess it hasn't been declared yet. You can walk down the street, but you can't drive down the streets. There's probably 10 or 12 roads that are just going to remain closed. And, you know, part of my problem with the General Assembly is, so they've enacted a bunch of rules where you can't bring weapons into this perimeter. So you can't bring mace, you can't bring bats, you can't bring knives, you can't bring a skateboard, you can't bring glass bottles or nunchucks or throwing stars.
Nunchucks? No nunchucks?
Nunchucks.
Damn.
But thanks to our General Assembly, you can bring a gun. So if you go through the security perimeter, they're going to take your knife, they're going to take your glass water bottle, they're going to take your pepper spray, but your fully automatic AR-15 or your semi-automatic AR-15, sir, go right ahead, proceed, and have a great day, sir. And that's thanks to our General Assembly and the shall I say, the support groups that purchase certain conservative politicians on a regular basis. So, you know, they are. They were responsible last year, and they'll be responsible again this year if anything bad happens, because they have not given our government the tools with which to remove the gun equation out of what is a very hostile environment, or potentially a hostile environment.
Jeff, we know the President of the United States likes to, let's say, stoke racial animus on many sides. Are you fearful at all that the President of the United States will target Charlottesville once again for some sort of, you know, anniversary tweeting this weekend, in some way defending his prior indifference?
You know, Donald Trump is a racist, and if you support Donald Trump, you either are a racist or you support those who are. I'm not really sure which is worse. But the problem, that one of the things we're having here in Charlottesville, you know, outside of the Republicans, is we're still grieving. We still have been inflicted with a trauma that could last generations about what happened here. And we have turned our anger against ourselves largely. If you would have seen our city council meeting on Monday night, I mean, they were practically yelling at each other over the appointment of, I mean, every little thing became the biggest, became a breaking point. Yeah. And, you know, the thing, our city council right now, because of being pulled in so many different directions, it seems like 5 councilors, if they were all going over to Bodo's for a bagel, they'd take 5 separate cabs. I mean, they're just not getting along. And this is a time when leaders need to step up and show leadership. And right now, they're busy bickering with each other and about real things. But the things that really matter are keeping us safe and protecting our rights and our liberties and allowing us to go out and safely protest in our streets. And I just hope that the police and the National Guard and the state police and everyone who's here has a thick skin, because there are going to be words and things, hopefully not objects, but words and hurtful statements directed at the police. And if they start arresting people for what is perceived as trivial matters, I'm afraid that the people that are here could escalate, and I'm terrified for what could happen again to our city.
Well, Jeff Leonard, our good buddy from Charlottesville, I don't mean to make light as we wrap this up, but how are the Donald Trump deck of lies selling, my friend?
Donald Trump. We're the Donald Trump deck of lies it's okay. We need to do a little more marketing for that. Right now, we're sort of sidetracked with all this, but we'll hopefully buy some ad time on your stations up there. So, but yeah, we're hanging in there with the deck. The deckoflies.com if you have any interest. But
there you go.
You know, we're not really worried about that right now. We're locking down our city and hoping we survive the weekend.
Well, Jeff Leonard, we always appreciate you keeping our audience informed here on the Devil's Advocates radio show. We appreciate you playing this fine show out on WPBC 94.7 FM in Charlottesville, Virginia. We are the Devil's Advocates on Resistance Radio. We'll be right back.
Define alt-right to me. You define it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying,
define it for me. Come on, let's go.
Senator McCain defined them as the same group.
Okay, what about the alt-left that came charging at him? Excuse me. What about the alt-left that came charging at the, as you say, the alt-right? Do they have any semblance of guilt?
Faux.
On many sides. On many sides.
Tired of holding your nose and choosing the lesser of evils in every election? Mike McCabe is a breath of fresh air, a once-in-a-lifetime candidate for governor. On August 14th, let yourself dare to dream of something better. Vote Mike McCabe for governor.
Paid for by commoners for Mike McCabe.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Person who's against these regulations to keep poop out of your water and poison out of your food. If, one of their offspring had a third arm coming out of their forehead.
I would just think that would be awkward. You'd be very top heavy.
But you would be one heck of a football player.
How would they make a helmet?
All you gotta do is cut a hole in the helmet for the hand to come through and you could catch
but then
passes
you're elbowing
all over
everybody in the face every time you walk around.
Wear an elbow pad. You'd be fine.
How would you see?
You would be a heck of a football player.
Would you be an arm unicorn?
414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio. You can always join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we always try to find a little something, let's call it marijuana related for the 420 break. You found this article today, Bruce Velmetti at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. A local kid made good? $2 million in cash, $1.8 million in gold seized as part of a pot ring indictment. Dom, I am in the wrong industry.
No doubt.
Federal prosecutors in Milwaukee are trying to take more than $1.8 million in gold coins and $2 million in cash from people charged with conspiring to sell hundreds of pounds of marijuana. That would be a lot of marijuana. A superseding indictment filed Tuesday names a dozen defendants from Milwaukee, Virginia, and California. Dom, you know what those 3 geographic locations have in common?
They all play out Devil's Advocates Radio.
That is so true. Our affiliate in Eureka, California. Our affiliate in Charlottesville, Virginia.
We need to go back on the road, man.
And, of course, the mothership, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Resistance Radio mothership. I hope we are not the common thread. The group is accused of conspiring to distribute more than 200 pounds of pot from January 2015 to last month. Now, I would point out, Dom, I'm not trying to do a lot of math on the radio. 200 pounds, that seems like a lot of marijuana. But 200 pounds over 3.5 years.
That's not a lot.
Seems like a lot less marijuana, let's just say. A couple pounds a month. That
or as I like to call it, personal use.
Yeah, personal consumption.
Crudy, but here's the issue. There's more to it, but I also want to point out his attorney, this is Hibab's attorney, says that his attorney, Robin Shella, moved in June to dismiss the initial charge, calling the government's decision to prosecute irrational, arbitrary, invidiously discriminate, and punitive, given that marijuana possession, sales, and use are legal in many states and that Americans invest in the stock of marijuana companies. Here's a quote: "Nothing indicates that citizens who bought marijuana stocks will be charged under the Controlled Substances Act," the motion reads. "The citizenry deserves clarity, rationality, reason, and fairness in the government's actions on marijuana, which this court can provide in ruling for Habib." And I will also note, Crudy, from Bloomberg from April of this year, former Speaker of the House, John Boehner, joined the advisory board of Acreage Holdings, a company that cultivates, processes, and dispenses cannabis in 11 U.S. states. And mind you, Crudy, 64% of Americans, including a majority of both Republicans and Democrats, want to legalize cannabis, according to an October Gallup survey.
Let's not forget that Scott Walker, as the head of the Republican Governors Association, took a $25,000 donation from the legal marijuana industry. You know, our hypocrite governor. Come back with us. 6 days to a primary. Like 4 minutes to more Devil's Advocates.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
You tell them I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear?
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
Ah, the bridge is out, and there are Scott holes everywhere. Come on. What's wrong with you? Listen to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
You concerned about speaking up at work,
Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Scott Walker said he sees no value in visiting a state prison to see for himself the conditions for citizens who are incarcerated. The governor made the statement at a press conference yesterday, where he also criticized Democrats who say we need prison reform. Wisconsin's primary election is next Tuesday. You can find out your polling place and see a copy of your ballot at myvote.wi.gov. And the Brewers lost to the Padres last night 11-5. Game 2 of that 3-game series is tonight at Miller Park. And outside this afternoon, mostly sunny with temperatures around 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the upper 60s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Women want them. Men want to be them. Tom and Cruz are the Devil's Advocates.
We are the Devil's Advocates. We're always having fun here doing a little politics. It is the political party, and you are a part. If you join us on the phones, call or text 844-967-2789. Dom, I don't often like to quote Christian, affectionately titled Sleazy Schneider.
Affectionately.
Yeah, that's as much affection as I can muster for the guy. Sleazy is about the nicest thing I can say about him.
Is it sleazy or sleazy?
Well, I was kind of dragging it out that time. He's a little sleazy. There used to be a Village People song, Sleazy. Brings Christian Schneider to mind. Anyways, nice. Let me jump into this story. The headline story, opinion piece, Wisconsin GOP Senate candidates could show strength by standing up to Trump. Christian Sleazy, or Sleazy, depending on your preference, Schneider could show strength by standing up to Walker, but that's a different point for a different day. I digress. Early in their first televised primary debate late last month, the two leading Republican candidates for U.S. Senate in Wisconsin were asked to explain their conservative credentials. State Senator Leah Vukmir positioned herself as a partner to President Donald Trump, that offensive guy she holds her nose to, saying the president needs a strong leader with a proven track record who's not going to buckle. Both candidates then proceeded to produce enough buckles to safely secure the trousers of every voter in the state.
A little reach there, Christian.
Yeah.
All right.
When asked if there was any issue on which he disagreed with Trump businessman and Marine veteran Kevin Nicholson complained of the loaded question and simply declared that Trump's agenda was a darn good one, and everyone in the room knows it. Vukmir, attempting to deflect the question, complained the liberal elite in the media want nothing more than to bring this president down. I think she's talking about us, Tom.
Are you the liberal elite, Crudy? What war have you started?
There we go, little Village People in the background. Here you go, Schneider. This one's for you. When asked about specific issues, both candidates heap lavish praise on Trump, each trying harder than the other to associate their views with the president. Of course, they both happily cited the more traditionally conservative aspects of Trump's agenda, such as the appointment of conservative justice to the U.S. Supreme Court and the passage of the large individual tax cut, for rich people, Dom. But on the other controversial issues, both Vukmir and Nicholson, both touting their strong and independent qualities, refused to even offer the mildest criticism of Trump. The debate took place just days after Trump all but genuflected in front of Vladimir Putin, taking the side of a hostile foreign leader over U.S. intelligence sources that had evidence of Russian meddling in the 2016 election.
What I saw, said Nicholson, is the president kept an open line of communication with another foreign leader, unquote. This, of course, was mere seconds after a long speech by Nicholson in which he touted American exceptionalism, the very concept that is threatened when a president lays down to a hostile foreign adversary. Neither Vukmir nor Nicholson was willing to even hint at a downside to Trump's plan to impose large tariffs on a variety of foreign goods, which is
downside, all winners, no losers.
Which is forcing companies to either drive manufacturing overseas or raise the prices of their products. In response to retaliatory tariffs imposed by other nations, Trump's White House proposed a $12 billion plan to rescue farmers harmed by the burgeoning trade war, a plan Wisconsin U.S. Senator Ron Johnson likened to a Soviet-style economy. We need to give the president the time to negotiate. That's what he's known for, said Vukmir. Yeah, negotiate, Curdy, like this. Hey, we got to pay the porn star $130,000. Check or cash? Cash. No, check. I continue. Who couldn't have actually believed a single word of what she was saying. This is Schneider writing this in the Journal Sentinel. Similarly, Nicholson suggested the tariffs were simply the first move in Trump's game of 8-dimensional chess. Which evidently
8-dimensional?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's twice as dimensional? I mean, please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, 8-dimensional chess, which evidently begins with...
It's an octagon chess, Tom.
Which begins, Crudy, with manufacturing jobs fleeing America's shores when they can't remain competitive. Even if Trump's negotiations were one day to succeed, the successful operation may take place on a dead patient. Naturally, both candidates are in a difficult position. Trumpism has thoroughly overrun the Republican Party, and opposing him on the wrong issue could be costly in a GOP primary. But strength, quote-unquote, isn't demonstrated by how exuberantly one can suck up to party leaders. It's proven by standing up to those very leaders. Even Vukmir herself has bragged that other Republican state legislators considered her a pain in the neck for standing up for her ideals, and yet she seems perfectly comfortable giving Trump a deep neck massage.
Yeah. You'd like a neck massage from Aaliyah, wouldn't you? The Nurse Ratched treatment.
I don't know if I want the Nurse Ratched treatment, the frontal lobotomy. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. But wrapping up Christian Schneider's piece in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel.
I prefer Schleezy, but please continue.
Schleezy. This chasm is even deeper on Nicholson's side, where he has made personal strength and fortitude his primary qualification for office. The former Marine frequently mentions his bravery in war, and justifiably so. But while he is able to face down adversaries, shooting guns and throwing bombs at him, he is evidently unable to stand up to a corpulent, loudmouth, septuagenarian reality television star. At a business forum on Monday of this week, Nicholson said America needs politicians willing to stand up to other politicians, claiming he tipped over this entire state's political establishment. What he's evidently forgotten is that he rode to prominence on the coattails of the new establishment, one led by President Donald Trump. We will see if he can stand up to this new establishment while lying on his back.
Christian Schleezy Schneider is a Journal Sentinel columnist and blogger, Dom.
Curdy, this kind of...
He's got a theme song now as well.
The Village People?
Yeah, that Schleezy. That's his theme song.
Curdy Patrick Marley, also today in the Journal Sentinel, Paul Ryan. Now, this lack of leadership, and I agree
There's
with
another
Snyder.
profile in courage, but please continue.
You got to be kidding me. I mean, you have got to be kidding me. Here's what Patrick Miley writes in the Journal Sentinel. Ryan said publicly taking on President Trump often isn't effective, arguing he avoided tragedies through private conversations, according to excerpts of interviews released on Wednesday. The Janesville Republican declined to give examples of tragedies he averted, saying he had said more than he should have by acknowledging his private conversations. Ryan, who is not seeking re-election, said his private constant interaction, presumably with Trump and White House officials, made him effective and made him feel good about the work he is doing. I can look myself in the mirror and at the end of the day saying, avoided that tragedy, avoided that tragedy, avoided that tragedy, he said in excerpts of interviews in The Daily, a podcast by the New York Times. The interviews were conducted for Times Magazine Profile, were published on Tuesday. Ryan's at times criticized the president, but said he didn't do more so because he didn't think the strategy worked. The pissing match doesn't work, and it boomerangs and it goes in the other direction, and so it's not effective, he said. And so, do I have to eat criticism to do what I think is effective? Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, what matters is being effective. Now, here's my complaint. I understand.
Wait, quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is that how they pronounce tragedy in Sheboygan?
Tragedy. It's easy for me to say. Tragedy.
Is that how the Schmengi say it, Dom?
It's a tragedy, Crudy, that the second in line to the president behind the vice president, the Speaker of the House, leader of half of the co-equal branches of government, has absolutely no spine to stand up to this guy. And it's one thing to discuss policy, but when you see the president of the United States standing up and saying, hey, the press, they're the enemy of the people. Well, Paul Ryan, if you don't say something, your lack of courage and words is implicit that you support the words he is saying. And how do you not criticize? You have to stand up for the House of Representatives. You are closest to the people. I mean, the House, every 2 years, you got to go through this election cycle. You're the president after Pence. Where is the courage? Where is the leadership? I mean, hell, even if you agree with everything that Trump is doing on policy side, how can you possibly accept what he is doing on the moral, quote-unquote, side, coming from a Republican standpoint? The lack of leadership is truly stunning to me, and it goes just beyond Nicholson and Vukmir, goes all the way up to Speaker Paul Ryan, who was so damn scared he's quitting his job.
Dominic, recently you paid me what I perceived to be a compliment. You didn't call me a Boy Scout. And I knew you meant it to be derogatory towards me, but I took it, as sort of a compliment of sorts.
You were a Boy Scout, right?
I was a Boy Scout. But you called me a very efficient a-hole, slightly different verbiage, something of the sort. And I would say I could teach the Speaker of the House of Representatives a little something about backbone and courage.
Yes. I think you could.
844-967-2789. 844-967-2789. We are the Devil's Advocates. You're listening to Resistance Radio. We're talking on the radio. I got messages popping in my computer, my Facebook, and all over places. When you communicate with me, no, I don't. No, I've changed my mind on that sentiment. I am opposed to all communications forevermore.
Ah, come on. Have
courage.
Don't
call us.
Have courage.
Don't call us at 844-967-2789. Don't text us. Don't message us. Don't tweet us at Devil Radio. Don't communicate with us whatsoever. There, I've said it.
If I'm curt, then I apologize. But as I understand it, we have a situation here, and time is of the essence.
Evil, pure and simple from the 8th dimension.
Does that make sense?
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to Governor Walker.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Folks, it's time for a change. This is Kristen from Waukesha asking you to vote for Kelda Roys for governor, early or on Tuesday, August 14th. Paid for by Kelda for Governor and her supporters in Waukesha County.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio. It would be a tragedy if you didn't give us a call toll-free, 844-967-2789.
I'm glad to hear and see that no one defied me and called into this fine product at 844-967-2789 because I'm just not interested in talking to you people.
Curtis,
I kid. I just, I enjoy it.
You're out. You are an ass.
How else could I be such an efficient a-hole if people didn't call me up so I could tell them to their faces? or to their radio ear holes.
Curtis from West Dallas, you're up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got today?
Hey, Curtis.
Well, Crudy, that's because you were falling asleep on Monday, see?
Yeah,
so
I was, man.
Now you're all wound up and ready to fly, and now we can't calm you down. Boom. Look at that. You know what I mean? It's like
I am. I'm all wound up.
I love it. Hey, listen, that's good. Brian's birthday today. My brother's birthday is today, too, and I called him in Tennessee, and he asked me if I read the front page of the USA Today or whatever. Wisconsin's going on a shooter, huh? Did you hear about that?
Well, we've been down the shooter for about 7-8 years running here since that
but now he
red
really,
wave election
now
in
because,
2010.
Well, I guess the cranberries up north are, like they said, there's a third of them that are just like going to get rid of because they can't get rid of them. And the soybeans up north are going down the shooter. It's like really sad.
You're talking about because of the export tariffs, the Trump tariffs?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
Correct,
you're going to have a lot of pressure on a lot of different commodities in industries that are paramount to our economy right here in the state of Wisconsin. Cranberries, they're kind of a big deal. Yeah, you're right, sir.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially up north, in Toma, they have the cranberry fest, and what are they going to do with all the cranberries? They can't, They say they're not going to pick half of them because they're just going to rot away anyway. I mean, it's pretty sad.
Your grandma's going to be saying manji at Thanksgiving. You're going to be getting triple doses of cranberries at Thanksgiving because they're going to be like 38 cents a pound.
But I do want to tell you, I'm excited about your new lineup. I'm glad that Earl's coming back, and this new guy sounds really positive.
Yeah, we're excited to try something different. We're trying really hard over here to provide various platforms. And, I find it interesting. Some would hold me up to this station owner litmus test. Is everyone progressive enough? Do they check all the boxes? And I'm thinking, I really don't need your input on this. It's an employee-employer decision. And quite frankly, obviously people have to respond to the hosts we put out there. But, with what we have available to us, I think we have the most diverse lineup in the state of Wisconsin, and I could not be more excited for Monday to get here and the Earl Ingram relaunch, the Sherwin-Hughes Forum that will air between 8 and 11, and, of course, Fancy Brian doing his part, 2 to 3, and the Devil's Advocates, man. We're super cool. We'll be rocking it. So, yeah, man, I'm very proud of the lineup we're putting together here.
Oh, exactly. And remember a year ago when you first started the station, you said, "This is your baby." Well, baby's got to crawl, and then baby's got to start walking. So you know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. Now you're in what, first year? So
yeah, we're beyond the first year.
So yeah, a year and a half old now. So you got to start.
We're in our terrible twos now.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, if we can't get up, leave the nest, and go kick some Republicans in the kneecaps, or whatever bodily parts we can reach with a high kick. Why do this if we can't have that sort of fun and mischief around here? Appreciate your call. Nobody else call either at 844-967-2789. Of course, we love your calls. They go on screen here. We might ask your name, but we certainly are not going to prevent you from joining us on the air, Dom, because you don't check the litmus box. I don't need everyone I know to agree with me, or you and I could not be friends.
Yeah, amen, brother. Mark from the Sack, you're up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got today?
Well, I just heard today, and I guess this story's been out there, but the Trump-branded asbestos. I don't know if you heard that coming out of Mother Russia. I sent the story to you, but I mean, apparently there's we're now importing our asbestos from Russia. And apparently it's got Donald Trump's mug. They're using his mug as the label now.
No, wait. Mark, is this a real story or is this fake news? What are you telling me?
This apparently is a real story that I heard it on Tom Hartman today. And apparently that there's this, because Trump is really fond of asbestos, and you know how he maintained that the towers wouldn't have fell if they would have had more asbestos in them. But apparently there's a Trump-branded asbestos coming out of Russia.
Wow, that's very interesting, Mark.
It can't be any worse than the Trump steaks or the Trump water.
Well, at least now the Trump. Well, unless you get food poisoning from the steak or
here it is. I got Mark's
in the water. But I think that it that at least those won't cause lung cancer. I mean, that at least don't use, the lung cancer caused by asbestos, mesothelioma. I mean,
right. It's not like you don't see the advertisements from every attorney, late at night on the networks, Mark. And now we're gonna have Trump labeled asbestos.
Mark has sent me the photo. I've got it here, Mark. We appreciate you sharing it and flagging it for us. I've got this from the asbestos.com website. Russian company brands asbestos with Trump's face, and someone went through a lot of elaborate photoshopping. If this is not indeed a pallet of asbestos, plastic wrapped with like a big Trump seal and Trump's face right on the side of the box. The world's largest producer of crystal tile asbestos, now marketing its signature product with President Donald Trump's image.
What?
That man will license anything, I'm telling you. According to a recent Facebook post from the Russian mining company Uralasis Best. Be best. Uralasis Best. On June 25th, the company, which operates a giant asbestos mine in the Ural Mountains in western Russia, posted photographs of its asbestos on pallets wrapped in plastic and stamped with the seal of Trump's face in red ink, kind of like the federal budget. A message of support for Trump and former Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Scott Pruitt accompanies the photos. The English translation provided by the Environmental Working Group, the Russian mining company, praised Trump for his outspoken support of asbestos. Because if you can't license your image to asbestos, I mean, what's this world coming to?
Be asbestos.
More Devil's Advocates, the happy hour. It's right now.
I'm really proud of what we've been able to do.
Every death is a horror.
Greed is good.
Be best.
Evil.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
5/9, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus.
Frightening revelation, rideshare freeze. I'm Barbara Cusack.
11 hungry children found at a compound in New Mexico were being trained to be school shooters.
Court documents say Siraj Ibn Wahaj was teaching the children how to shoot and use different kinds of weapons at the compound, located near the borders of New Mexico and Colorado. Authorities raided that compound late last week and found 11 emaciated children there. They later also found the remains of a young boy suspected to be the man's son, although the identity of the remains are not yet known. 4 other adults were also arrested. Prosecutors are asking that Wahaj be held without bail. I'm John Stolnis.
Police arrested a man in connection with Southern California's Holy Fire that's burned 12 cabins. Todd Spencer with the Orange County Fire Authority says 51-year-old Forrest Gordon Clark was booked today on suspicion of 2 counts of felony arson, among other charges.
This is a monster. Who would go out with low humidity and high wind and the highest heat temperatures this time of the year and intentionally set the forest on fire?
In a major defeat for Uber and Lyft, New York City Council voted to cap the number of ride-hailing vehicles on the road for 1 year while requiring that drivers be paid a minimum wage. New York's action provides a model for other cities that are trying to find ways to rein in ride-hailing firms. GOP Congressman Christopher Collins of New York pleaded not guilty to insider trading charges. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jeffrey Berman.
The crime that he committed was to tip his son Cameron so that Cameron and a few select others could trade on the news while the investing public remained in the dark. As the indictment alleges, that's exactly what they did.
Stocks closed mixed. The Dow dropped 45 points today. The S&P 500 off nearly 1 point, but the Nasdaq added 5 points. I'm Barbara Cooper.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in the former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Once again, the American public has some reading to do. A 29-page indictment today. Americans need to take a look at page 6, paragraph 20, and here come those important 8 words: to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election. That is it.
Jim, I'm going to make a confession on behalf of the panel. Dom's not going to read the indictments.
Come on, maybe.
The Devil's Advocates, political commentary from the back of the class.
The One Bible.
A Ford Mustang milestone marked with a special celebration today.
As the 10 millionth Ford Mustang rolled off the assembly line, 3 P-51 Mustangs flew overhead and tipped their wings in tribute. Ford says it was the famous fighter-bomber from World War II that served as the inspiration for its pony car, and not necessarily the wild Mustangs that once roamed the prairies. Ken Rogulski, Flat Rock, Michigan.
College basketball players who go undrafted by the NBA will be allowed to return to school and play as part of the sweeping NCAA reforms in the wake of a corruption scandal. Players would also be allowed to work with an agent while declaring for the NBA draft. 4-time champion Novak Djokovic advancing to the 3rd round of the Rogers Cup in Toronto after defeating Canadian wildcard Peter Polansky. I'm Barbara Cusack.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Over the weekend, there were 5 non-fatal shootings near Milwaukee's Washington Park. Candidate for sheriff Ernell Lucas says the violence in the parks is directly related to the acting sheriff's decision to limit patrols in the county parks. In a statement, Lucas said Richard Schmidt does not have a plan to end the ongoing violence occurring in our parks, and his policies have failed to protect the public. Lucas also said that Schmidt focuses patrols on Bradford Beach at the lakefront, but ignores the county's other 140 parks. The next Milwaukee County Sheriff will be chosen by voters in next Tuesday's primary election. And outside this afternoon, mostly sunny with temperatures around 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the upper 60s. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Hump Day edition. Dom, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour, and I'm happy because you got a cold one, and I don't. I'm over here in the broadcast bunker, sans cold one. I got my normal green rocket fuel here.
It's Fancy Brian's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Fancy
Happy
Brian.
birthday, Brian. Here's to you, man.
Thank you very much.
You know, I mentioned yesterday my son's birthday. You know who else had a birthday yesterday? Robert Mueller.
Oh, that's right.
Special counsel Robert Mueller. Happy birthday to you as well, sir. I got some big birthday wishes for you in this next year.
Fancy Brian, but I got to ask you, man. Now, how old are you now?
I am 40 today.
The big 40.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I shaved my head bald at 40, Brian.
And it never grew back.
I have shaved my head bald before. I have headshots with my head shaved bald.
Dude,
that's
that
got to
hair,
be a good look for you, sir.
That would grow back quick.
I actually once, in my 40 years of existence, I once got paid to shave the entirety of my body above the waist.
Wow. Was
Really?
it paid by the hour? I mean, you must have made a mint.
It took a while, but I got spray painted blue, and I was a genie for a lottery commercial. In
I
Kansas
was
City.
thinking a giant, scary Smurf.
Pretty much.
So, Brian, 40 years, man. How you feeling, man? 40 for some people
Lay
can
some
be
wisdom
weird.
on
Yeah,
us.
man. If you're looking back, man, tell me what you think, man.
You know what? I basically, at the end of the day, you just got to choose to be happy and move on.
Regardless of how old your ass is.
Yeah, pretty much. Look, I go by Earl's thing now. I'm above ground. I'm having a great time.
It's a good day. Amen, brother.
And, Brian, if experience teaches me anything, don't forget a snack.
Oh yeah, I got some really good truffle cheese here.
Oh, it is. It's definitely birthday cheese. It's some good stuff.
So you guys got
Birthday
Wisconsin
cheese
cold
sounds weird.
ones. I got your birthday cheese right here.
Oh man, happy birthday,
This
Brian.
is getting weird. Let's get back to the politics, boys. Although you guys do what you got to do there, I'm going to jump into more of the headlines at the Journal-Sentinel. You boys go make some birthday cheese together. Tammy Baldwin. Tammy who? Tammy Baldwin quietly campaigns, as in doesn't come on our radio station, quietly campaigns as Leah Vukmer and Kevin Nicholson. Primary battle becomes nasty. You know, that Vukmer, I hear she's a nasty girl, Dom.
Nasty girl, don't mean a thing.
Miss Nurse Ratchet, if you're nasty. Well, While her two Republican foes trade verbal blows in the closing days of a fiery primary battle, Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin has been quietly touring Wisconsin, skipping Brady Street mostly, at farms, bars, restaurants, and village halls. Baldwin has discussed issues such as rural broadband and the opioid crisis and listened to local voters, activists, and business leaders. It's all part of what she calls the In Your Corner Tour. I thought she was going to call it the In Your Face Tour. The In Your Corner Tour, an 8-day campaign trip through 18 counties. And while it might seem like political small ball, it's the sort of tour an incumbent senator does to reach out to various parts of the state ahead of what will likely be a rugged, I tell you, re-election campaign in the fall. Baldwin doesn't yet know who her opponent will be, Delafield businessman Kevin Nicholson or State Senator Leah Nurse Ratchet Vukmer of Brookfield. But she's setting a political table and honing a message. Tammy, you could come practice. You could hone that message. I mean, there's truffle cheese and beer over here, Tammy.
Practice makes perfect.
With the U.S. Senate August recess shortened, Baldwin has crammed in many events as she can before heading back to D.C. next week. On Wednesday, she chaired a discussion on clean drinking water at the, and I'm not even going to attempt this one, Shemekel Reserve Visitor Center, part of the natural area of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point campus. She said there has been a real attack on clean water programs at the federal level. And let's not forget, right here in the state of Wisconsin, under Scott Walker's governance, here's a quote, "It has been my responsibility as well as my honor in restoring those funds," she told more than a dozen.
Ooh.
Whole dozen. Wow. Way to pack in the house. Groundwater contamination is a concern here, especially for rural residential well owners. Baldwin hasn't ceded the campaign field to Vukmer, and Nichols said she has put together a ground game for the general election with 50 paid field organizers and 200 neighborhood teams of volunteers. Over the months, her campaign has spent $5 million on TV ads focusing on local issues as well as Buy American legislation to push for the U.S.-made steel and iron in water infrastructure projects. And in her campaign speeches, Dom, she has pushed back against powerful special interests who are trying to take her out with millions of dollars in spending.
Nearly
those powerful special interests, Dom.
Yes, nearly $18 million in outside spending has flooded the race, including $4.2 million.
Damn, that is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, including $4.2 million against Baldwin and $1 million to support her, according to the Center for Responsive Politics. Among the big spenders, Illinois businessman Richard Eline, who backs Nicholson and the Koch brothers' political network. Baldwin has proven to be an apt fundraiser. Since winning election for the Senate for the first time in 2012, she has raised $21 million. She told the Journal Sentinel that she's focused on listening to Wisconsinites and the issues they care about. "I have a strong feeling that the November race will boil down to being a race about who is fighting for Wisconsinites and hearing their concerns and focusing their attention on working on those as opposed to sliding up with the special interests and to try to do their bidding in Washington." Baldwin said that in an ideal world without campaign finance run amok, her work in the U.S. Senate alone would be paving the way for a successful campaign. The first negative ads run against her more than a year ago, Crudy. She said, "We've got pretty serious. This is where we are now." July's Marquette University Law School poll found her viewed favorably by 41% of registered voters to 40% unfavorable. Asked if she sensed there might be a blue wave for Democrats this fall, Baldwin said that there was enthusiasm, but, quote, "I will tell you, the only wave I've seen in Wisconsin these days is a green wave, and I'm talking about the cash coming from the Koch brothers and Richard Eline." She said the response to that cash is a common sense wave. People have witnessed some pretty crazy things these days, dysfunction in Washington that results in inadequate focus on the needs of working people in the state, and then all this spending to try to make it seem like it's normal. I think we're going to see some people with just common sense say we're going to get involved and stay involved. Republicans are poised for the fall primary. Alex Zimmerman, a spokesman for the Republican Party of Wisconsin, said, Tammy Baldwin's far-left record in D.C. couldn't be further from her rhetoric on the campaign trail. From voting in favor of higher taxes and supporting government-run health care to her failures to stand up for veterans at the Toma VA, Baldwin has picked Washington over Wisconsin time and again. Paul Maslin, a Democratic pollster, said Baldwin has sought to establish the element she wants to run on, emphasizing that she is closer to the voters in Wisconsin on issues of healthcare, education, and the economy. Maslin works with the Senate Majority PAC, an outside group working to elect Baldwin and other Democrats running for Senate. He said Baldwin has shown that she can work across party lines to get things done. The Cook Political Report, Crudy, rates the Wisconsin race as likely Democrat, even though President Trump won the state in 2016. A quote from Jennifer Duffy, senior editor of same said Cook Political Report. Yes, it's a state that Trump carried, but he carried it by a point. It's not like West Virginia that he carried by 42 points. Duffy said the GOP primary has given Baldwin time to put together an organization, start talking message, pretty much unimpeded. At the same time, the general election might get more competitive, she said. We'll see. I think there are differences of opinion on who would give her a tougher race. I think there is going to be a lot of outside money in the race, especially on the Republican side. It's one of these things. I'm just kind of waiting to see what the eventual nominee can do. Duffy said of all the competitive U.S. Senate races in the country, this is probably the least developed.
Well, Dominic, I haven't made many predictions in this race to date, but let's make one. I am predicting Kevin Nicholson wins the primary. He is going to beat the anointed Leah Nurse Ratchet Vukmer.
Oh,
she has the
no.
endorsement of the Republican Party.
My girl Leah is going to roll over Nicholson just like I used to roller skate to some Leah back in the day. Leah's going to roll, man. She's got the Walker support, man. She's got the establishment support. Hell, 70-some percent of the Republicans at the Wisconsin Republican Convention voted for her, man. She has the core. She will beat the outsider Nicholson.
I'm not clear that is the case. In fact, I'd be willing to bet against. I don't think Leah Vukmer wins that primary, and I'm watching that race as closely as the Dem gubernatorial race because my prediction is that Leah, nasty girl, Nurse Ratchet Vukmer, will lose the primary.
Nope.
This state has definite Walker fatigue. You cannot wrap yourself in the, I love Scott Walker, I stand with Scott Walker, and above and beyond that, the standing with Donald Trump. Now, I don't think either Nicholson or Nurse Ratchet is going to be any real challenger. I mean, lots of money. The money will be the challenge for Tammy Baldwin, not the specific opponent. But I think Nicholson offers a tougher opponent. He is a Marine. I think if there is a criticism where Tammy is vulnerable, it's probably related to the VA and Toma. Well, the Marine, perhaps he's got some credibility to stand on. But Nurse Ratchet, I'm not sure what she has to offer.
Proven conservatism. Hell, she was never a Dem like Nicholson.
I'm not sure that she was ever a human being, Dom. Like you and I and our fair listeners. Come back with us. Join us on the phones. Devil's Advocates continues the happy hour at 844-967-2789.
I guess you'll be the only one having fun.
That music is for everyone.
I'm proud to have stood shoulder to shoulder with Governor Walker.
I'm not going to work here anymore anyway.
Before I wore a hard hat, I wore an Army helmet, and I qualified as an expert shot. I respect an American's right to carry a weapon. I don't respect the NRA profit machine that lets guns into the hands of criminals and the mentally ill time and time again. It's time for sensible gun policy in America. I'm Randy Bryce, and I approve this message.
You concerned about speaking up at work?
Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. And so, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m., Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tired of holding your nose and choosing the lesser of evils in every election? Mike McCabe is a breath of fresh air, a once-in-a-lifetime candidate for governor. On August 14th, let yourself dare to dream of something better. Vote Mike McCabe for governor.
Paid for by commenters for Mike McCabe.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
5/9, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio, streaming live on the YouTube and Facebook pages. You can always hit us up on the Twitter feed at Devil Radio. And the party line, talk or text. Don't listen to Crudy. Give us a call. Free speech here, 844-967-2789.
Just because it's toll-free doesn't mean it's free speech. Oh, let's get to the phones. Damn it.
Gary from Sussex. Welcome back, man. What do you got today?
Hey, Gary.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, are you guys broadcasting at State Fair this year?
No, sir.
No.
Oh, okay. Because if you would, I'd like to be able to meet you guys face to face. I know that you guys are down on Brady Street, but a couple of weeks ago on Saturday. But hello.
Yeah, we're still here. Go ahead, Gary.
Oh. Yeah. I thought I'd be outnumbered if I went down there.
Oh, come on, Gary. Friends and foe, they're all welcome. Just bring beer.
It was just one ask. That's all we have.
Okay. The reason I call it's got two comments. One of them is Richard Schmidt. Were you going to give him equal time? When I called last week, you guys were ripping on him, and the worst she came up with was he went to a defunct college.
I don't know. I interviewed Richard Schmidt on Brady Street that last Saturday when you were conspicuous by your absence, Gary. And I would point out Richard Schmidt had a very nice long-form interview with Maggie Dawn, the Milwaukee County Corporate Counsel, and that interview played out last night immediately following the Devil's Advocates. I actually sat back and enjoyed that interview on the drive home last night. A, I think Maggie Dawn's doing a hell of a job as a host. And B, I thought Richard Schmidt came off as a very strong candidate in that interview, sir.
Good, because he's been in office for, excuse me, he's been working in the police department sheriff's department for 30 years. So you guys made a comment because he went to a Christian college that might affect how it makes the decisions. Now, remember that officer in Milwaukee that was killed? This guy was a born-again Christian man, and look at the number of people who came out for his funeral. I mean, they literally shut the city down, at least on a freeway, and yet he's known as a born-again Christian man and good morals and a great cop. So,
but
just because he's a Christian doesn't mean he makes bad decisions, you know.
Well, who's implying he makes bad decisions because he's Christian? If you're talking about this fallen cop, this first Milwaukee police officer shot in the line of duty in 22 years, Gary, I think the people turned out because he was a cop and they honored and respected his service and this great debt he gave. What I would say about Richard Schmidt, I don't find him to be unreasonable. I don't personally agree with some of his philosophies, but I've sat through church services before and found myself disagreeing with the pastor, yet still having, smart, intelligent conversations with that same pastor, not from the pew, but in, private conversation. I have pointed out Maggie Dawn, who I respect a lot, Milwaukee County Corporate Counsel, a lady who interacts with Richard Schmidt on a consistent basis, says she is judging him by the number of incidents they're having in the jail, by the number of problems they have in the jail. And his predecessor obviously handed off a number of problems, Gary. David A. Clark Jr. did a terrible job at
and let me say there, Gary, I'm going to be more critical because Schmidt was number 2 under David A. Clark Jr., who was a total a-hole and a disgrace to this community, and I didn't see any leadership coming from Schmidt regarding that. Number 2, you're going to go out and call yourself a doctor. Now, I don't know where they got the signs, but apparently there were signs regarding Schmidt saying Dr. Richard Schmidt. Well, he's a doctor of what? From some religious studies from some, but how does that apply? I mean, that's not a doctor from some unaccredited school on the internet or down the street that is no longer there in a church. I have a big problem with that. I think we need a sea change in this county, and I don't think Richard Schmidt is the guy. And how can you claim the Earth is 6,000 years old and rely on scientific evidence to support prosecuting crimes? I mean, how could you be a Democrat and then be a fundamentalist Christian? What are your thoughts on gay marriage? And to my understanding, they've actually scrubbed some of his sermons off of the internet. No, I got a problem with that. Crudy maybe less so. I'm the atheist. I expect more from my public servants. I don't expect religion.
Right. But the thing is, I think it was you said that it could affect his decisions as the head of the sheriff's department being a Christian. Now, I could be taking this out of context, but that's generally how I took it.
Now, I didn't have any big issue with his doctorate in theology. I don't think it's the qualification that makes him qualified to be the next sheriff or not to be qualified to be the next sheriff. But honestly, Gary, I don't have a vote in that race. I'll vote in the ones I get votes in, but I don't have a big dog in that fight. I got a little dog in that fight, and his name's Dominic. Come back with us, 844-967-2789.
What'd you do?
Oh, Gary!
Sinner.
I'm Jesse Picaholes with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent.
Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Here's how you get them. If someone invites you for a cocktail, you bring them beer. If someone invites you to dinner, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that failed facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Scott Walker said he sees no value in visiting a state prison to see for himself the conditions for citizens who are incarcerated. The governor made the statement at a press conference yesterday, where he also criticized Democrats who say we need prison reform. Wisconsin's primary election is next Tuesday. You can find out your polling place and see a copy of your ballot at myvote.wi.gov. And the Brewers lost to the Padres last night 11-5. Game 2 of that 3-game series is tonight at Miller Park. And outside this afternoon, mostly sunny with temperatures around 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the upper 60s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Charged, never convicted. Dom and Croat are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. The happy hour continues, and I would remain happy if you continue not calling us at 844-967-2789, because, Dom, I got a little article I want to include for our audience's consideration. A little piece here at the New York Magazine. The whole Republican Party seems to be going to jail now. Jonathan Chait. The entire Trump era has been a festering pit of barely disguised ongoing corruption. But the whole sordid era has not had a 24-hour period quite like the orgy of criminality which we have just experienced.
Nice.
The events of the last day alone include, 1, the trial of Paul Manafort, which has featured the accusation that President Trump's campaign manager had embezzled funds, failed to report income, and falsified documents. His partner and fellow Trump campaign aide, Rick Gates, confessed to participating in all these crimes, as well as stealing from Manafort.
Ooh, let me jump in, Crudy. I want to go.
Oh, please do, please do.
2. Yesterday, Forbes reported that Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross may have stolen $120 million from his partners and customers. Meanwhile,
how much did Bernie Madoff steal? I mean, that's starting to get to be a lot of money, right? $120 million?
Well, Crudy, Ross has maintained foreign holdings in his investment portfolio that present a major conflict of interest with his public office. The don't worry, Wilbur Ross would never do anything unethical just to pad his bottom line defense is likely to be unconvincing to many people filing suit against Ross for allegedly doing exactly that.
Oh, let me go on number 3 here. Also yesterday, ProPublica reported that the Department of Veteran Affairs is being effectively run by 3 Trump cronies, none of whom have any official government title or public accountability. The 3, reports the story, have used their influence in ways that could benefit their private interest, or, just being like Trump.
4. And then this morning, Representative Chris Collins was arrested for insider trading. Collins had been known to openly boast about making millions of dollars for his colleagues with his insider knowledge. He is charged with learning of an adverse FDA trial and immediately calling his son from the White House, urging him to sell his holdings. That one's new to me. I didn't know he called the son from the White House.
Well, I think it was in the prior reporting. It has been, in some, quite a day, Dom. Some level of corruption is an inescapable part of political life in general, and certainly Democrats are not and never have been immune to it.
No.
They just have no power. But it has been especially chronic in the modern Republican Party, whose last experience with control of government ended in a series of corruption scandals so blatant they provoked widespread soul-searching on the right as to how the party and conservative movement could so easily open itself up to grifters.
Greed. Greed.
Remember Jack Abramoff. Remember Bob Ney, Tom DeLay, Grover Norquist. The temptation to use government as a vehicle for self-enrichment is especially strong in a party dedicated to the credo skepticism about the possibility government can do good. But the Trump administration has, even in its embryonic stage, already brought it all to a new level. Several possible explanations present themselves. Trump appears to select for greed and dishonesty in his cronies. Collins does not work in administration, but as Trump's first endorser in Congress, the sorts of people Trump admires are rich and brash and disdainful of professional norms and seem unlikely to rat on him. The sorts of people who are apt to work for Trump seem to be those who lack much in the way of scruples. The administration is understaffed and disorganized to the point of virtual anarchy, opening up promising avenues for insiders to escape accountability. Trump's public ethos, despite his professions during the campaign that he could drain the swamp and impose a series of stringent ethical reforms, run towards relativism. He famously tolerates anybody who supports him, regardless of criminal history or other disqualifications, defining their goodness entirely in terms of personal loyalty, much like I, Dom.
Yeah.
And above all, there is a simple fact that Trump himself is a wildly unethical businessman who has stiffed his counterparts and contractors and worked closely with mobsters his entire career. A president who is continuing to profit personally from his office is hardly in any position to demand his subordinates refrain from following suit. It has been frequently noted that the president is molding the party in his nationalist, populist, authoritarian image. He is likewise molding its governing class after his own personal business ethos. Corrupt as hell, Dom. Or so writes the New York Magazine submission we just read from Jonathan Chait.
844-967-2789. Don't call us. Lines are starting to stack up. Nobody listens to you, Crute, so let's get to them.
Kind of like my kids. It's you.
I listen sometimes, and then I just disagree. Pizza Box Mike, our pal from Madison. Hey, Mike, welcome back. How you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I just wanted to give you a tip. You need to sell all your Apple stock and go bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Go bananas. Hey, listen, this Congressman Collins, okay? No. Calling your son the night before and telling him that's just being a good dad. Kind of like Trump and Junior, right?
His wonderful son, Junior, right.
Yes, and since he was the first congressman to come out and say Trump's our guy, I don't think this guy's got too much to worry about. You know, I'm just going to let me say, pardon me for a second. I mean, what's going to happen when any of these guys actually go down? You know Trump's going to let them go. You know he's going to pardon them all.
You get a pardon. You get a pardon. Everybody gets a pardon. Yeah. Pizza Box Mike, here's my question. What is this guy doing serving in Congress and an active member of a board of directors of a company, of a publicly traded company? Doesn't it seem like they shouldn't do that?
What do you mean? You get to make the laws and then break them at the same time? Okay, sure. You know, what's wrong with that, man?
Yeah.
Well, it's not like Trump is... It's not like Trump has divested his interest in the Trump brand. I mean, hell, apparently recently branded his image to an asbestos company in Russia.
Well, we could say one thing that Trump's done. He's made the greatest swamp America again.
Yes, he has. Hey, man.
Pizza the Box.
We
Always
appreciate it, man.
Your call, buddy.
For sure. 844-967-2789. Get your free speech here. Jake from Milwaukee, you will be next. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got today?
Hey, Jake.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to, say the Russian company that's making asbestos, they're cool because they're doing truth in advertising. Donald Trump literally will give you cancer, among other things. So
Trump is a cancer, yes.
I applaud them for that.
Can we all have a class action suit against Donald Trump's asbestos?
Right, we're going to see like the late light advertisements about, yes, Donald Trumpism.
Yeah, it's just, I work in the chemical industry, and when I heard that, I'm like, oh my Lord, it's going to get litigated before even gets out on the
come
market.
on, Jake. What could possibly go wrong by what?
Yeah.
Using asbestos to that degree.
So, Jake, go ahead. You make and I'll ask a question.
Okay, well, the point I was going to make is Republicans have long left public service. They elect themselves and get elected, and they elect themselves because they steal elections, to have the public serve them and their rich friends. Democrats, and believe me, they're not immune to doing that, but they want to serve the public. They're the servants. And I think, with the 80s coming with Reagan, there was a sea change in what Republicans actually did. I mean, they're just grifters now. They can't be trusted. Period.
Well, Jake, I hear what you're saying. I don't know if I necessarily 100% agree. I think both Republicans and Dems primarily want to serve, except that primarily Republicans want to serve the super rich and the ones that pay them, and Democrats primarily want to serve the people. And I say primarily because nothing's 100%, but that's if I'm going to stereotype for someone who doesn't know anything, that's the way I'm laying it out.
I just look at the data and the effects of what happens when a Republican is in office and what happens when a Democrat is in office. And the effect is that Republicans take away, Democrats try to share the people's taxes with the people. So, I mean, I'm just going through cause and effect.
Jake, appreciate your call. 844-967-2789. Don't be like Jake. Don't call us. I'm really sick of you peoples. Here's a quick one, Dom. The people rising up, if you will. Missouri voters rejected a law banning compulsory union fees.
Ooh.
Missouri, effectively by referendum, defeated right to work for less yesterday. I'm going to read briefly. Missouri voters delivered a resounding victory to unions Tuesday, rejecting a right to work for less law against compulsory union fees that had been passed by Republican state officials but placed on hold for more than a year after organized labor petitioned for a referendum. National and local labor unions spent millions to defeat Proposition A, hoping to reverse the momentum against them. From a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling and the adoption of similar laws, think Wisconsin, limiting labor powers in other historically strong union states, officials at the AFL-CIO called the Missouri vote a truly historic moment. Today, Missouri gave hope to workers across the nation, said AFL-CIO Secretary Treasurer Jake Hummel, a Democratic state senator. Dom, I'm encouraged by this news out of Missouri. They're the show-me state. Perhaps if they had gone first, we wouldn't have a crappy right-to-work law on the books. Thank you, Koch brothers. Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Scott Walker.
A little bit more from this piece, Crudy. The referendum marked the first chance for the public to weigh in on union powers since the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in late June that public sector employees cannot be compelled to pay fees to unions. Missouri's ballot measure essentially would have extended that to all private sector employees, mirroring laws already existing in 27 other states. These are the fair share fees, which are less than full dues, but are intended to cover unions' non-political costs, such as collective bargaining. Unions say it's fair for people to pay fees because federal law requires them to represent even if those people don't join. Yeah, no doubt that makes sense. But supporters of right-to-work laws counter that people should have the right to accept a job without being required to pay a union. I should have a right to accept a job without being required to pay taxes, right?
Yeah, if you're a freeloader.
Right-to-work supporters have been banking. Former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens signed right-to-work bill passed by the Republican legislature in February of 2017. It was set to take effect as law on August 28th, but before that could happen, union organizers submitted enough petition signatures to suspend its implementation pending a statewide referendum. And Crudy, I got to tell you, man, this is what it's all about. I mean, if people cannot band together to impose their will, again, this is the union struggle versus management is symbolic in many ways. I think of elections. I mean, you can get beaten down by the money because the folks with the money, they're always going to have the money and they're going to spend money to get their message out. But what matters is the volume, the mass of people that get together and decide, you know what, no, we don't want that. We're going to push back. And when people do that in a union, when people do that in elections and in politics, results happen. How would you have any problem with people utilizing their free association to get with other people to try to collectively bargain for the better working conditions? That is a mini democracy. That should be embraced. That should be multiplied throughout this country. Thank God. Well done, Missouri, and hopefully other states will follow as well.
Well, back here in the state of Wisconsin, you know how Kimberly-Clark, the corporation, is trying to bend their union over for concessions and also for an unprecedented, tax corporate welfare giveaway? Well, your Senator, Alberta Darling, says the Republicans may not have the votes. We'll talk about that, and we won't take your phone calls going forward at 844-967-2789. Yes, we will. I'll just be grumbly about it.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
Oh, they drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. I'm not made of stone.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
5 9s, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Resistance Radio. Last segment of the day. So, if you've got something to say, now is the time. 844-967-2789.
Briefly, I got something to say. PJ posted on our Facebook live stream a comment. Scott Holes, you only get one guess as to what will be flying overhead at the Wisconsin State Fair tonight in West Dallas when Governor Walker is visiting. And Dominic, if you answered hashtag Scott Holes airplane banner,
yes,
you'd be correct.
That is fantastic.
I love that exercise. Somebody do that everywhere Scott Walker goes.
I think we have some callers who might have an opinion on that, like, I don't know, Wisco Paul. Hey, Paul, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates. What do you got today?
Hey, Wisco.
Hey, yeah, thanks for taking my call. I love the banner. That's really cool. I wish I'd have thought of that. Hey, Lordy, Brian is 40. Happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday,
yeah. Lordy, I hope there's not tapes.
Unfortunately, there are, Crudy.
The night is young.
Actually are, Crudy.
We may make some tonight. You never know what's going to happen.
I hope you do that Blue Man Group thing again, Brian.
I can't run for office unless I have some explaining to do.
Please continue, Wisco Paul.
Okay, well, I just want to say, well, happy birthday, Brian, or whatever your name is. But, hey, God, the GOP is pretty corrupt here. I got an end-of-the-day question really quickly after listening to Dave. I didn't really realize how much power the president has. Is it because of one-party rule, and can you even get rid of Trump with one-party rule? Thanks for taking my call, Devils, and great show today. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Can we get rid of Trump with one-party rule? Not if it's the Republicans. Getting rid of Trump is a political exercise if you're talking about impeachment, meaning it's still a vote, and it's still going to fall along partisan lines. And while certainly I think you can raise the specter of impeachment, you can hold the trial is held in the Senate. So even if the Dems win the House without some sort of unprecedented supermajority over in the Senate, maybe it's happened before, but never, in these divided, divisive times that we live in. But you need 67 senators to remove his ass from
office. If President
office.
Trump kills a hooker in the White House, you're damn right we can get rid of him. And there's nothing that I will ever want to hear about any sort of presidential protection.
Short of that, I doubt it.
He is a U.S. citizen. I don't want to wait for Republicans whether or not. If it's come out that he's got the DeLorean tape, hell yes, he should be prosecuted. He should be indicted. He should be dragged kicking and screaming out of the White House by force, like you, Paul, like me, like Crudy, like Birthday Brian, if he gets out of hand tonight.
I bet you Devin Nunes has still got a body in his trunk. That was what the late night visit over to the White House. Hey, Devin, bring the big car over, the one with the big trunk.
Bring the lime and a couple of shovels.
Leave the golf clubs at home. We're going to need the whole trunk.
Let's keep going. Ignacio, you are up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Nacho.
Hey, how we doing?
Good, man.
Hey, I had to go to Mexico. I was so stressed out. I was down there for 3 days and everything else, but Trump's just killing me, man. The tariffs he put on there, all our stuff that we get from the laminates that I run the warehouse for, they all come from China. So the prices went up 25%.
Wow.
So guess what? All our business is not dying off. It's just that we can't get product now. So thanks to our famous president, which is killing every industry, the soy industry, dairy industry. Everybody's hurting right now really bad.
Ignacio, you just got to give the man time to negotiate. Trade wars are easy to win. You just got to have some staying power, Ignacio.
You know what he's been really good for, Donald Trump, that is, industry-wise?
Asbestos?
Lefty Talk Radio. Yeah. He has made Resistance Radio the most coveted radio outlet in this nation. We appreciate you listening to it. Not so much calling in today. I just wasn't in the mood.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate our fine guest, Jeff Leonard from Charlottesville, our fine affiliate, PBC 94.7, under a state of emergency for the weekend. Something for Jeff and his friends and our fine listeners in Charlottesville to look forward to tomorrow on this big show. Gordon Hentz, the minority leader in the assembly, going to talk some Foxconn with that fine Dem. Have a great night, everyone. Don't call me. I'll call you. We'll do it again tomorrow.
If it's possible, would you let me know, am I under investigation?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Did you ask me a question?
Folks, it's time for a change. This is Kristen from Waukesha asking you to vote for Kelda Royce for governor early or on Tuesday, August 14th. Paid for